What is up, everybody? I'm NoLucksGiven, and in this video, we're going to look at my Wordles and Quordles for a few days. I'm not sure exactly right now how many Wordles and Quordles are going to make it into a single video, or if this is something that will become a series on the channel or what, but I do the Wordle and Quordle every day, so I figured I'd record myself and my thought process getting into it here and take you guys along with the journey, bring a little bit more variety of content to the channel. And we're going to start off with the March 10th, 2022 Wordle. And for Wordle and Quordle, I go with two different strategies. For Wordle, I just like to pick a word that comes to mind to start out with. And for today, I figured I'd start with the word video. Nope. Video, because we are making this into a YouTube video. So let's see how that goes. And it doesn't give us too much, so I'm going to go to an old standby, and the word that I start with on my Quordles, and that's scale. And we'll see if that gives us anything else. And okay, definitely should have started with scale. Let's think. So the first thing that comes to mind, I try to plug in the letters that we have in here, so it would be like that, but I don't think that that is a word. We can try it. Nope, not a word. So maybe it could be like XALSE, could be false. That is probably going to be my best guess. I think we've got it here. I think this one is going to be false. Is that true? No, it is going to be that L blank SE. All right, so let's plug that in. L A blank SE. So that's not how you spell Lance. Could be lapse. That actually seems like a really good option here now. Yeah, let's try lapse. And we got it. Nice. Okay, so getting it in 4, not the best. That is normally where I get them, though. Pretty average Wordler here. And if we had started with scale, we could have potentially gotten it in 3, which is a little bit unfortunate, but getting it in 4 and having fun with it, I'd call that a success. Now we're going to move on to a slightly more difficult challenge, the Daily Quordle, and for this one, I generally really like to start with scale. For a little bit, I was starting with wrote, which is not a real word, but people have said that it's really good. It didn't work out the best for me. I wound up getting a few failures with it a week or two ago, and I like the consistency that scale brings me. So that is what we are going to start off with. And you can see that lights up this board pretty well. So now I'm going to have a think for a moment and figure out the best way to proceed. I'm not really seeing any pattern or clear direction for this Quordle, so I think what I'm going to do is move on to my default second word, which I always use, and that is going to be pouty. And basically, that's going to help us find vowels for our 4th puzzle. It could potentially help us find some vowels for some of these other ones, because all of these only have one vowel so far. So pouty does find us a TY, and it finds us an O and a Y here. So a lot of pretty good stuff with that one. And I think we're going to work with this one firstly. It could be tasty, T-A-S-T-Y. T-A-S-T-Y. Though with the fact that we don't have any T's, I might want to try out like nasty, or I might just want to keep that on the back burner for a moment. What are some other words this could be? I think it could be pasty, I think that's a word. I'm not sure if this is pasty. My mom's boyfriend used to call pastries pasties, I think. And I'm not sure if that's a real thing, if that's an Irish thing. I'll have to look that up. But this might just be how you spell pasty. Sometimes when you're playing Quordle, the words just, like, they don't even make sense. I think one of the words yesterday was minus, and I just accidentally put it in, and I was like, minus? What is that word? So yeah, either pasty or pasty, whichever one is a real word there. I guess pasty is real. Just the question is, like, does pasty, like covered in paste, have an E in it? That I'm not sure about. So this could be nasty. It could be pasty. It could be tasty for sure. And between those two. So I might want to consider trying to work. Oh no, it can't be pasty because we already used the P. So maybe nasty is a pretty good guess, or we try to see if we can work an L in to one of our other puzzles. We also do have a lot of clues with this one right here because this has to be SOLXE. So what could that be? So, don't actually even know. This kind of looks like, this looks like a, I don't know, like something to do with soul, like the sun. Solge is like a portmanteau of Soulforge. It's not that. Could be, old-fashioned sold. I don't think that this is a real word. One thing that I kind of wish Quordle did was highlight the letters a different color if it's an acceptable guess, but not an acceptable solution. Because I don't actually think this is a real word. However, I think we can kind of brute force this in a way, especially because it's at the end here, and just go through the other letters and see, okay, like QE, no. WE, no. RE, no. IE. So I'm going to do this for a second and see if anything pops up except for sold. Because if sold is the only thing that pops up, then I guess we got our answer. Not going to be X. Oh, solve. Solve. Okay. So sometimes you got to make your way through the alphabet. Solve is obviously a much better guess than sold. So let's send it. And we did indeed solve our first word. That also, moving around the L, gave us a hint that this is an Ollie word, which I thought that it might be with the Y on the end, but there's still a lot of different options that this could be. Can't be Polly anymore, but could be Molly. Is Bolly an acceptable answer? No, that'd be a proper noun, I guess. Roly? No, not going to give us Roly either. Dolly is a real word. I don't think Nolly is, no. So, how about Wally? Interesting. Don't really know what that means. Woolly? No, because that's one O and two L's. So, well, I guess Woolly probably has two L's too, right? Woolly is probably WOOLLY. So my leading... Well, I guess we should check. Is Molly... Yeah, I mean, I know it's a drug. It is also a name. Oh, but how about Jolly? Well, again, we've got a lot of options. I'd love if we could guess Nolly or just anything that would potentially give us a guess for both this word and this word. Because we've got this Asti or Asty, and then we've got this Ollie. And if there was like Gasty that also gave us Golly, then that would be a pretty good thing for me to guess. But as is, there's just too many things that could work here, and you wind up going down a rabbit hole where you're just, okay, first we're guessing golly, then we're guessing jolly, then we're guessing tasty, and we're just running through and losing a lot of our guesses here. So I think I'm actually going to turn my sights on word 2 and see if we can make some guesses that could potentially give us the remaining letter for clues 1 or 4. So I just did this real quick. I outlined all of the letters that can be in front of hasty, which is hasty, tasty, nasty, and then masty. I'm not sure if this is a word. Masty. Not really sure what the M is doing, but it fits. And then for the other puzzle, we've got lolly, wally, holly, folly, jolly, molly, dolly, and golly. So 8 different options here. We can definitely fail this puzzle if we're not careful. Now, one thing that is interesting is we do find some overlap in the H. That can make holly or hasty. So I'm definitely interested in H, but I also want to see how many of these different letters, the H, the M, just because it appears twice, can we fit into this word? Like, can we go what else are we looking for here? I mean, shed works. Shag, I don't know. Well, we don't have to use the H twice, but that is something that I want to figure out. Shelf, maybe. Tess, the F and the H. Honestly, that looks like a pretty good word. That's, well, other than this L. That's the other awkward part. And speaking of awkward, what's really awkward about both of these words is we're not going to be able to find out information on this T without just guessing it, and we're not going to be able to figure out information on the L in lolly without just guessing it. And that's pretty awkward. We could make a long word that we start with T or L, but that's basically the same as just spending, a guess on it. I guess it's a little bit better. So I don't want to go for shelf because we know that an L can't be in this word, but definitely considering something that starts with SH, because that is going to get us some points here. We could throw in an I. We could do like sheet. No, that's sheath with a TH there, not with an F. So, and shield, we do not have enough letters to fit in. So, yeah, definitely a little bit tricky. Definitely leaning towards SHE if possible, because I would really like to figure out if the H slides into either of these puzzles. And I think this is a word, right? No. Drat. This is a Smash character. Is it a real word? I'm not sure. The K doesn't really help us, but we get to guess the H. We get to figure out if an I is in this word because that's the only vowel that we haven't checked. And we check the placement on the E. So, while I'm not convinced this is a real word, I think that it might be a fine guess. We also haven't used R, though R can't go into roly, right? Oh, maybe it, no, okay. I think I checked that one earlier. And can't go into rasty either. So the R isn't super helpful, but could still be helpful in this word. Something like shirk. No, that would be with an R. Sherm is a surname. Oh, how about shrew? So this does test the W. This tests one placement on the E. It's kind of awkward placement, but tests the H and the W. I like that. Wow. It is holly and hasty. So I could have gone for that. Let's knock those out. That's awesome. Hasty, holly. Awesome. And then we get a pretty good hint on this one as well. This one is pretty close. Let's just pop it in here with an X so that we can get a better look at this. I mean, some weird... Is this sheer? Is this how you spell sheer? Like something see-through? I thought that was this. Nothing else is popping out to me, and this is a word. Despite not knowing what it means, I think I'm going to guess it to try to get a solution in 7? No, okay. So what is this? Schrer? Shrek? S-H... Oh, it can just be sheer. Okay, well, I don't know why. My mind just went blank. Sometimes when you are, like I said, doing too many Quordles, your brain turns to mush and words don't mean anything anymore. But there we go. We solved it. We weren't that hasty, but we also found holly and sheer, and that is today's Quordle. Day 2, March 11th, and unfortunately, I'm a little bit spoiled for this one. I know that some people have failed it and that it's potentially a hard word, so that is going to cloud my judgment a little bit. And that kind of makes me want to not mess around with something silly as the first guess and just start with the classic scale. It also has me a little bit worried that some of these more conventional letter choices just won't appear. Maybe we'll see the dreaded kayak or something like that, but at the very least, let's kick it off with scale and see if that gets us anything. Okay, still gives us 2 letters, and there's a lot of ways to go from here. I always like to play on hard mode as well. Not sure if that's a great idea today, but just first thing that comes to my mind, let's start with a CA word, and I probably want to work in another vowel in here, so like this, and the first word that comes to my mind with that is cabin, so we're going to see if we can get any placement. We do place the A, and where does that get us? Well, it could give us something like patch. That still lets us test a few letters, some good letters here, and a new placement for the C. So let's try this out. Wow, okay. I do think that this could get tricky because there's hatch, and that was one of the things I was already considering. Now, is tatch a word? I'm not sure. But the fact that we've got 3 guesses still to try to figure out what this word is, I think is good. So I'm going to do what I did yesterday again and just list the possible options on the screen. So just FYI, what I just did was I used Quordle to check which options are valid guesses in Wordle, because if you put in something like gatch, it actually does come up. And I found that gatch and ratch are also options, but I don't know what those words mean. So I'm going to assume that we are probably between watch, hatch, and match. And if I'm going by the social aspect of it, I think that there is the greatest chance of... I think what I'm going to do here is just use my next 3 guesses for hatch, match, and watch. Maybe it should be hatch, watch, and match in that order, because H and W are trickier letters that people might not guess till later, and thus might lead to people being more unlikely to solve it. The other option is we come up with a word like, I don't know, something that would use all of these letters. Home. No. I'm not sure, but we could try to come up with a word that uses multiple of these letters as one of our future guesses. But for right now, I'm going to try to grab a 4 using some social media as a little bit of an assistance. And let's see if it's hatch. It's not quite. Okay, so the question here is, should we come up with a word that has a W, M, R, and G in it in some combination? We could do, is rig a word? We could do something like grime. That's pretty easy. That will guarantee that we get it. However, I do feel like it's between watch and match, right? Let's just go for grime. Let's play it safe. I don't think this is the craziest thing to do. And if your goal is to just keep the streak alive, then this is a valid play. And at the very least, this demonstrates a different play that you can do here at the end game. So let's go for grime. I think we're probably going to see one of these things light up. Wow, okay. So then it has to be match, right? Or are we getting a failure? Wow, what was it? I just can't spell. Okay, so I totally messed up here. I was trying to figure out what letters it couldn't be, and at first I was like, okay, rig, and if it's not any of these letters, it's match. But rig wasn't a real word, so I switched to grime. But I didn't switch the thing in my head that said, if it's none of these letters, then it's match, to if it's none of these, then it's watch. So grime missed, and then I just threw that M right back in there, and I knew it was watch. I just went too quickly, and nobody to blame but myself. But you know what? This was a one that a lot of people failed on, so I feel like we get to fail with everybody, and we also figured out a way to the solution. So maybe not the worst thing in the world. It's just Wordle after all. Let's see if we can turn things around for the harder puzzle of the day, the Quordle. Let's go with scale because it doesn't fail. And one thing that I am thinking is maybe, especially while I'm doing videos on Wordle, I should use this box down here so that way I'm just less likely to make mistakes. Yeah, that could definitely be good for us. So we see that this one has the placement of vowels. This one we need to place the A. This one we need to place the E. This one we need to place the S. And because this one doesn't have any vowels in it, I think I still might go for pouty just to figure out what vowels might exist in this word. Not the craziest thing in the world, though. We probably aren't using the Y because we see that we've got two E's. Maybe that's not true. Maybe we could definitely still use the Y in either this puzzle or this puzzle. But I'm also thinking, what if we did something like point? Just a little bit of a deviation. Checks a little bit better vowels because this one and this one probably do need some more vowels. I'm going to go for point. I think that is fair. All right, and we find the T, and we actually have a bunch of letters over here. This could be something like sinew, and I think that's what I'm going to go for, just because it checks placement on all of these letters. I'm just shifting all of these yellow things over one, and it does seem like that could be the word for us. It also checks the I placement in this word, so trying to find that I is not a horrible use of our time. This could still be a lot of different things. but I'm going to rock with the sinew, and we are able to grab that one in 3. And it does place the I over here as well. Now we could see something like first. I think that's what I'm going to go for, because that gives us 2 really good letters while also being a pretty good guess. It doesn't move the T over here where it matters, but checking the R and the T, honestly, I feel like this is a good word here. Okay, it's not first, but what else could this be? Could be like midst, right? You're in the midst of something. Kind of a cheeky word choice, but how else do you work in I blank ST? I'm not sure. Let's go for midst. And it is midst. So now we are only working with these top 2 puzzles. Doesn't look like I can zoom in to just deal with those. Okay, I kind of can. This looks a little bit weird on my screen, and you guys can't see the whole keyboard if I do that. So let's zoom out back to this one, and we'll just have the bottom amount of the screen not really doing much. We see we have all of the letters up here because we've done the first and the midst. So this is just an anagram. And let's see if we can't crack this right now. Odare. Well, it's probably not DR, because then that just leaves a whole bunch of vowels at the end, which doesn't seem like it's going to be right. O-raid, or how about erode? No, that's not how you spell erode. How do you spell erode? Interesting. Well, not like that. Oh, how about adore? There we go. That is going to be a solution for that in 4. And we find out that our other puzzle has another A, so that is really good info. And now we've got A, X. Well, let's try it with a T in both positions. A tate. So this could be, in that first position, could be a bait. Could be... A bait's the only thing that is popping out to me. Now, how about if we lock in this T and then move around this second position? A tage, a tave, a tabe, a take, a tase. I think it's going to be a bait. And no. Okay, but we did lock in the T in that second position. So what is it? A gate isn't a word. That kind of sounds like a jar when you leave a gate open. Does look like it is going to be a valid solution. You know what? Let's go for a just trying everything here just to see if any of these sound better once we see that they have lit up for us. It's not going to be equate. That's not how you spell equate. Zate, definitely not. A zate we already tried. A vate I think we've already tried as well. So it is a gate. Well, no clue what that means. Did we try a jate and a hate? Okay. So it's a gate. Don't know what that means, but we found the solution. So there we go. The Wordle, or the Quordle rather, much easier for us today. I feel like we could have solved the Wordle too, but yeah. March 12th puzzles, and I am unspoiled for today, but let's go with spoil as our first word. And that is only going to give us an O. So, what about something like mount? Takes a look at some more vowels. We're still not trying A or E, which are certainly more common vowels. What about something where we use an A or an E? Like, I was thinking something like oated, but I don't think that that gets us anywhere. And then I was thinking, what about roach? That's a word. Let's try it out. Okay. We found the placement for the O, and we do indeed have an A. So glad I went with that one over U. So we're probably looking at something like this, like Lorax. Could be Nomad. Let's try that out. All right, that gives us the placement of the A. So pretty okay with that. And let's see what that looks like with X's in the various places here. So do, wat. Nothing's jumping out at me from that. How about, I really want to use that T. Oda. Odat. O. Day. Today. That'll let me use the T and try out the Y. That seems like it might be the word today. Nice. Okay, there we go. So let's try the Quordle. So let's fire off with scale and see where that gets us. So we've got a placement with an L, and then two words that are looking to place an A, and a few other interesting things going on, like we've got the C here. So could try to come up with a word that uses some new letters with an A in a different position and try to get us some more ideas for this. Could also just go for pouty, this one, or point. This word does not have any vowels in it. I do think pouty is probably going to wind up being better for us. Yeah, let's go for that. Let's go for pouty, and that gives us a P and a U. And nothing else in this word. So this word could just have the I in it, but I think I'm going to turn my attentions here. So see that we've got, like, I think this is a word, right? And that's immediately jumping out at me as what this word probably is. Because if we look at other options like ACU, occult, no, that's not how you spell that. That's got a double C, right? So I do think this is going to be caulk. Seems reasonable. Let's run it. Nice. That places the A, gives us the K, and doesn't tell us anything else, but hey, we're 1/4 of the way done the Quordle. This word notably is not kayak because it does not contain a Y. For this word up here, I'd potentially, just as a baseline, start with this, and where does that get us? Not really anywhere. And it can't be plum because we do not have the U in this middle position. So this word potentially is using an I, and then this word is also potentially using an I or an additional A in like the 4th position. If we want to use PU, we do it like this? I don't think so. So I don't think, or rather, if we want to use PL. So I don't think that this word starts with PL. So could be something like this, though nothing jumps out at me with that either. How about PUXIL? Pupil. That definitely seems like it is our word. I'm going to go for that. I think that that's a good guess. Okay, nice. And that is, of course, not going to give us any information on the other words, but we're halfway done. still with 5 guesses to go. So even if we were completely starting fresh on these other ones, I think we'd be on track to get it. But the question is, can we get these next 2 words? Can we guess this one now and then this one on the following guess for a full solution in 6? Because that's like the ultimate goal if you can get there. So we've got to think about other ways that we could organize the vowels in this bottom word. And it's either going to be like OXELX or XEOLX. I'm not sure. To be honest, this one is giving me a little bit of pause because I'm not even sure how it could end. Maybe elf? Oh, Nelf? Oh, it could end in an elm also. Potentially an elm, but it could be actually hello. That would be a really interesting one because I'm trying to figure out how else you fit the E and the O into these first 3 slots and don't end with E, so then you're not ending with O-L-E. But hello seems pretty good, and I think I'm gonna go for it. Nice. Okay. Hello. Now we've got 4 words solved in... or 3 words solved, rather, in 5 guesses, so we're doing pretty good. We've got 4 guesses to pick up this last word. However, we're really not that close to finding this last word. All we have is a bunch of hints about what it can't be, but that doesn't really get us closer to what it can be. And there's not too many things that work with K, because we don't have a C, and for that reason I feel like this word is going to start K-A. But I don't really know any words that start with K-A. I've seen kayak and I've seen kappa show up before in previous Quordles that I've done. What else could we have? Let's take a look at something like this for a second, because I think we are going to see another A in this solution. So, ACA, ACAM, ACAM. It's a weird word. You know what? Is something like this a word? Something like that is kind of... like, what is the name of the dance that they do in rugby in New Zealand? I feel like that word has K's in it. It's called a haka, I think, right? Yeah, I mean, I know we've already used the H, but I'm just trying to see if that's a real word. Is it a maca? No. Sussy baka? I don't know what that means, but that's not it either. I do have half a mind to just put in something like grand to potentially fish for other letters, though it won't help us on the A. So I'd almost rather do something where there's an A in this position, so that way we get information about that A as well, because that's going to give us a lot of hints about the overall composition of the word. We do know that K can come after an N in, like, bank, banka, manka, wanka. These all sound like slang terms more than actual words. And the K not being at the end definitely makes me feel like there's another A in this word. So I really do have half a mind just to run grand, check G, R, N, and D, which are some of our more common letters. Maybe brand is slightly better. Brang isn't a word? I guess you brung something, right? You didn't brang something. Okay. So we could just use brand as an attempt to search for B, R, N, and D. But how sweet would it be if we're able to solve this right now? And I feel like we might have all of the tools to be able to do so. The only problem is there's so many different ways that these few words can go in, these few letters can go in, that I'm having trouble nailing down a specific direction. So I'm going to have a little bit of a think on this one. So to be honest, normally what I would do in this situation is I would leave it, and I wouldn't play the Quordle for the rest of the day, and then I'd maybe revisit it in the afternoon or revisit it again at night if I still haven't gotten it. And I don't want to do that while I am trying to record a video on it, so I'm going to just go for brand and see if that gives me any more clues. We've got a lot of time to at least get some letters out of the way. And we see that we've got an R, and it is somewhat important to find out that we don't have a B, N, or D. So that does give us something here. Just trying out some other options for words. Sometimes the Quordle gives you something that doesn't really feel like a word, and that's basically why I went for this, just to make sure that something like that wasn't going on. But I don't know. I'm not getting there. Arca is interesting because parka is a word, but I don't think anything else fits here because karka's not going to work. Warka, Zarka. But at least we have a few ideas percolating with the R. I do wish that I had tried to lock in the positioning of this second A that may or may not exist, because that would really give us a hint in terms of how this word looks overall. I think Barrack has two R's. I guess this is Barak. Marak. Oh, well, it can't have the K on the end either. Okay, well, if it can't have the K on the end, then what about a car or acre? Acar. Makar. Makar. Well, we found a word that at least lights everything up. I have no clue what this word means, but this might be our solution. If it isn't our solution, it at least tells us if that second A is correct. And if it's not this and it's like this same word but starting with an F, okay, well, it can't be. So let's try this and see if that's our Quordle. It is not our Quordle, but these are our letters. So we've got to just re-scramble these letters slightly. This does mean that the A is probably going to go at the end. I thought we tried Marca. Oh, so it is Marca. Well, okay, let's run it, because this word makes just as much sense to me as the other one. No, it can't be Marca. Hold up, because we can't have that M in the first position. So we're really just playing a puzzle game at this point. So I think it is karma, which is actually indeed a real word. It's just one that doesn't come to the mind as easily. But there we go. That is going to be this Quordle in 8, which is a little bit unfortunate considering we started with a 3, 4, 5, but I'll take it with karma being a trigger word. Honestly, you hear karma much more often than you hear like caulk and pupil. So interesting that those were the ones that I got first, but we eventually got there with the karma. Gonna look now at the puzzles for March 13th, and I think this video is getting a little bit long, but let's just try to end it. And nothing with heart. How about howdy? No, don't want to use a T. Okay, how about pound? I'd love to use the I and the Y because I think those are going to be slightly more common letters. But for right now, let's just go for pound, see if that can find us anything. Okay, and this is a word with an O and a U, so something like this might be in order. What if it ends in a Y? It can't start with that U, right? U-O? No. XO, be like Omu, Oku, Osu, Olu. This is a toughie. This is a definite toughie today. Okay, I think one piece to this puzzle is that it is potentially ending in S. And once we get this into place, I think that we figured out our word. Nice. And then for our final Quordle of the video, let's not deviate. Let's use the tried and tested scale and pouty combination. The pouty is not going to give us anything over here, but we've got 4 out of 5 letters on this one. So see if I can't figure this one out. We do have ST, but it doesn't end in E. So do feel like it might be something more like toast, used. Just have to think about for a second how we can play around with these 4 letters in a combination that could possibly make sense. Usted, if we were using non-English words, but that's not going to be the case. Okay, so now I'm thinking something like guest, and does that fill the requirement? Yeah, the T, the U. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that this is it, which means that it's probably just guest. Good guest there. All right, it was an educated guest. Let's see. This doesn't give us any new information for any of our other words, so I think I'm going to need to figure out some more letters before we can solve anything else here. Something like brink at least tests the I, so that way we've found all of the vowels, and then uses some more common letters, B-R-N. Yeah, let's go for brink. Okay, and now we find that we've got a lot more letters in all of our words. We found at least 1 letter in every word, so that was a pretty good use of our time here. Now this word is looking like it's probably draft. I'll keep that on the back burner for the moment. This one looks like it is probably drain. Okay. And then this word I'm not sure on, but draft I feel reasonably confident about, so I think I'm going to guess on draft, and that'll let us know if drain is right as well. Nice. So we are looking at draft and drain. And now we've got to see if we can sync this one for a solution in 7. So the N can only really go here because it's not going to start BN. So N probably has to go here, which means that we're looking at a word that starts it with BAN, probably O, and I don't know where to go from there, but I'm going to try all of these other letters as possibilities. Nothing worked. So what am I missing here then? I'm not seeing any other way. I guess the only other thing, because the N has to go here. And since an O can't go here, an A has to go here. But it could be like Bano or Banjo. There we go. Okay, so a solution in 7. I think that is my record for Quordle on this video. I think all of my other Quordles were 8s and 9s. Let's make sure that it's correct first before I start celebrating. So I think that's gonna be it for this video. I kind of got in my head the idea of doing 4 days because we're working with Quordles. Could be an interesting idea. I think ultimately the video wound up playing out way too long, and 4 15-minute videos might have been a whole lot better than 1 hour-long video, though I do think that I'll make these potentially faster in the future, at which point a 4-puzzle video or 4-day video is about a half an hour long. Though I don't want to like make myself beholden to put out a Wordle Quordle video every day, because I'm not always going to have the time to edit the daily video. Could always like work ahead or do some magic like that, but I don't know. At the very least, let's see if you guys like it first or what you guys think of it, but that's going to be it for me for this one. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'm NoLucksGiven. Peace.